In those days, when the world moved more slowly and people still paused to feel the weight of a single moment, there was a quietness that lived inside daily life. Long before our modern noise began to fill every corner of thought, human beings carried the same worries we carry now: the longing to build something meaningful, the fear that our efforts might fall apart, the hope that what we care for will survive our hands. And just as we do today, people sought guidance when their strength felt too small for their burdens. In a remote village up the Salween River, a group of elders felt this longing deeply after hearing the sermons of the Thigazar Sayadaw. Their hearts stirred with hope. They wished to revive the religion in their village, to bring back the calm that had slipped away over the years, so they built a monastery with their own hands, timbers lifted with faith, walls raised with shared purpose. But the world does not always match our sincerity. The monks they invited came and went, each one left quietly without explanation, leaving behind an empty monastery and the echo of unfulfilled hopes. Confused and discouraged, the elders journeyed downriver to seek the Sayadaw's help again and again. Each time he sent a new monk from his retinue. Each time the monk departed after a few months. Each time the elders returned, carrying the same grief of repetition. And when they came once more, faces shaped by effort and disappointment, the Sayadaw looked upon them with deep, compassionate understanding. "Esteemed layman," he said softly, "I can only weep." Like the mother who wept together with her son-in-law. And with those words, he opened the door to a story that would mirror their own. In a quiet village, far from the river's unrest, a farmer and his wife lived with their 3 beautiful daughters. Their days followed the rhythm of the land: sunrise, work, rest, and their life was modest. It was steady. One day a handsome young man appeared at their doorstep. His name was Easy Life, and he offered to serve as an apprentice for 3 years. There was nothing hurried in his manner, nothing careless in his speech. He simply wished to work, to learn, and to serve. The father watched him in the fields. The mother observed him in the home. Both saw qualities rare and welcome: industry, obedience, skill, and gentle respect. And as the seasons turned, their trust in him deepened. When the 3 years ended, the family felt reluctant to let him go. His presence had woven itself quietly into the life of the farm. So the mother, wishing to keep him near, married him to their eldest daughter. But soon after the wedding, sorrow touched the household. The eldest daughter passed away, and grief hung over the family like a low, unmoving cloud. At the funeral, Easy Life cried out in deep anguish, "How can I live without you? All is woe. And now where shall I go?" Hearing him, the mother's heart broke open once more. She wept with him and pleaded softly through her tears, "All is woe, all is woe. But please do not go, for there is the second one." And so Easy Life remained on the farm, bound now not only by duty, but by shared sorrow. Life slowly regained its pattern, though the shadow of loss still lingered at the edges. After a respectful interval, the mother arranged for Easy Life to marry the second daughter. Hope returned in a small, cautious way, fragile yet sincere. Easy Life continued to work as he always had. Nothing in his conduct gave rise to doubt. The mother believed that perhaps this time fate would show mercy. But misfortune does not always change its course, simply because the heart wishes it to. Not long after the marriage, the second daughter also passed away. The family gathered once more in sorrow, and the weight of repeated loss made the air feel heavy and still. At her funeral, Easy Life broke down again, repeating the same lament that had echoed through the farm once before. "How can I live without you? All is woe, all is woe. And now where shall I go?" The mother, hearing this familiar cry, could not hold back her own grief. Tears rose from a place of pain and desperation, yet her voice remained pleading. "All is woe, all is woe. But please do not go, for there's the third one." And so for a second time, easy life stayed, carried forward by sorrow, by loyalty, and by the mother's unyielding hope that the pattern might somehow break. Time moved forward once more, though the household felt quieter, its laughter subdued. After a suitable interval, the mother arranged a third marriage for easy life, this time to her youngest daughter, the last light of the home. There was hope again, but it was cautious, wrapped in the memory of the two losses that had come before. Still, Easy Life worked with the same diligence he had always shown. Nothing in his behavior suggested harm or ill intent. The mother watched him with a heart that wavered between trust and fear. But fate, unbending and mysterious, turned the same page once again. The third daughter passed away not long after her marriage. Her death settled over the home like a final heavy silence. It was a sorrow too familiar, yet sharper, because it left no daughter remaining. At the funeral, Easy Life lifted his voice once more in the same lament, weighted now with the burden of three griefs. How can I live without you? All is woe, all is woe. And now where shall I go? But this time the mother heard something different in his cry. Perhaps it was the repetition, or perhaps her heart had finally reached the edge of what it could bear. Grief rose in her again. Now it mingled with fear, suspicion, and the crushing realization that the pattern had continued too perfectly. Her voice trembled as she cried out, "Are you a tiger that has devoured my daughters? Are you a snake that has swallowed them all? All is woe, all is woe. But this time out you go." Her words marked the turning of the story, the moment sorrow gave way to clarity, and grief discovered its voice. Far from the village of Easy Life, the Thingazar Sayador sat before the elders, who had come to him yet again. Their faces carried the same story the mother had lived. Effort repeated, hope renewed, loss returned. They had built a monastery. They had invited monks. They had tried sincerely and repeatedly. Yet each monk left quietly and without explanation, leaving the monastery empty again. This cycle weighed heavily on them. They did not understand why their efforts bore no lasting fruit, and so they came once more to the Sayadaw, seeking help, seeking clarity, seeking anything that might break the pattern. But the Sayadaw did not respond with rebuke or instruction. Instead, he answered with the story of Easy Life, the weeping mother, a mirror held gently before their hearts. "Esteemed layman," he said softly, "I can only weep, like the mother who wept together with her son-in-law." In his words, there was no blame, only compassion, only reflection, only the quiet suggestion that repeated sorrow is sometimes a sign, not of failure alone, but of something deeper, waiting to be understood. The elders listened in stillness, the parable settling around them like evening light. And through the story, the Sayadaw offered them clarity without force, wisdom without accusation, and a path toward insight that they themselves would have to walk. After the Sayadaw finished speaking, a quietness settled among the elders, a quietness thicker than speech, deeper than immediate understanding. The story of Easy Life and the grieving mother rested gently upon their thoughts, asking nothing, yet revealing much. They began to see the reflection meant for them. They too had faced the same repeating sorrow. They too had watched their hopes depart again and again. And, like the mother, they had not understood why the pattern continued. The Sayadaw had given no direct instruction, no command on what to do next. Instead, he had let the story speak for him, trusting that wisdom often blooms best when it is discovered quietly within the heart of the listener. The elders bowed, not merely out of respect, but out of recognition. Recognition of their own confusion. Recognition of the message carried gently within the tale. The recognition that some truths must be approached softly without haste or force. When they rose, the air around them felt changed. Not louder, not brighter, but clearer. The empty monastery still awaited their care, yet now they carried with them an understanding, shaped not by explanation, but by reflection. And so they left the Seador's presence, walking slowly as though each step guided them toward a deeper way of seeing. If this story rested with you, even for a breath, let its quiet wisdom follow you into the noise of your own life. May its stillness remind you that understanding does not always come as an answer. Sometimes it arrives as a mirror, or a pause, or a feeling that settles only after the heart has softened enough to receive it. If the calm of this tale brought you a moment of ease, you may subscribe to this channel, not out of urgency, but simply to return to a place where stories move slowly, and the mind is invited to breathe. You may like, comment, or share if the lesson touched you, or if you feel another wandering heart may find comfort here. Walk gently, and return whenever the world becomes loud again.